Assalamu alaikum. We are still discussing the business side of electronic commerce, and let's summarize what we did last time. We discussed the concept value chain, and I told you that value chain is the way in which an organization organizes its different activities to design, to produce, to market, to deliver the product or the services that it sells. And I told you that there are two different types of activities which are undertaken in this behalf: the primary activities and support activities. Primary activities are the main activities that an organization or a company would perform, whereas the support activities, they provide the infrastructure for the execution of the primary activities. Then the concept called industry value chain. I told you that different strategic business units, they can be associated with each other, each having its own value chain, and they can get associated with each other to form the industrial value chain, right? So I gave you the example of the industry value chain of the wooden furniture, tables, chairs, etc. By analyzing the value chain and applying electronic commerce, we can achieve different benefits. We can reduce the cost, we can improve the quality of the products, we can reach new customers, new suppliers, plus we can find out different new avenues for marketing our products or our services. So in this regard, the analysis of the industry value chain can be extremely useful. Then we also discussed the concept SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So in order to understand, to know the position a company, a business occupies in the marketplace, in its business environment, it is useful to carry out the SWOT analysis. So during SWOT analysis, a company would ask different questions and try to find out answers to these questions, like what are the things that a company is doing good, what are the things the company is doing wrong or doing bad. Then in case of opportunities, the company can find answers as regards the issues pertaining to any opportunities, like what are the new industry trends, what are the new technologies, new markets to be explored. Similarly, while analyzing the threats to the business, the company can ask as to what are the different things the competitors are doing better, and what are the deficient areas where a company needs to focus in order to effectively compete with its business competitors. So SWOT analysis enables a company to analyze its own business as well as the business of its competitors, and then it leads a company to develop a good, a useful, sound marketing plan or a business plan. We also talked about the supply chain. So if you recall, supply chain involves different activities which are associated with the flow and transformation of raw material into finished items, finished goods, and then their onwards delivery to the end customer. So all different activities, they form the supply chain. The process of involving the group of suppliers who supply the raw material to the company in order to improve the processes or the products of the company. That process is termed as supply chain management, right? And while discussing the concept of supply chain, if you recall, I gave you the simple example of the supply chain mechanism of a milk processing unit. Now today the supply chain management is being used to add value in the form of benefits to the end customers of a product or a service. Remember that internet technology can play a very big role, a very useful role in the management of supply chain. How? You can well imagine that internet is a very fast, very quick mode of communication. Okay, it transcends any geographical boundaries. So your messages can instantaneously reach from one part of the world to the other part, and in a very less time and very inexpensively. And supply chain management has the key element of communication involved in it. So you can see the linkage between the internet technology and the supply chain in the sense that the internet provides us a very fast mode of communication, and at the same time supply chain management requires fast communication. So in this way we can use internet to enhance our supply chain management system. There are specific supply chain management software which are developed, and they can not only manage or deal with the internal processes of an organization, but at the same time they have got the capability to manage the processes of other members of the supply chain. So they can create a coordination and effective link among different members of the supply chain. And the benefit is that you can make certain useful predictions, right? So a supplier of certain raw material, that supplier can come to know that, well, this is the time when the material would be actually required to a manufacturing company, because the manufacturing company and its supplier company, they have a strong bondage, a strong linkage. They are associated with each other through their supply chain mechanism. Okay, then what is the exact role of electronic commerce in supply chain? What do you think about it? I can point out at least 6 different areas where electronic commerce can play a tremendous role in the improvement of supply chain. For example, through electronic commerce or EC, you can intimate about any customer demand fluctuations to your suppliers. So you can readily intimate or inform them that, well, the demands of our customers, these demands, they have fluctuated, they have reduced, so accordingly the supply of the required raw material can be then minimized. Secondly, if any notification is required to be sent to the supplier about the change of design in a product, that thing can very conveniently be done using EC. Thirdly, that any drawings, any specifications, or any such material, any information which a supplier needs to execute an order as regards the supply of certain raw material, all such information, such specifications, such drawings, they can be very rapidly, very quickly delivered to the supplier using electronic commerce. Then the fourth point is that the processing of a transaction, that becomes very fast, it becomes very speedy with the help of electronic commerce. The fifth point is that the cost of handling different transactions, that cost can be tremendously reduced using EC. Similarly, where the data of a transaction is required to be entered, then with the help of electronic commerce, with the use of this internet technology, it would be possible that you can minimize the chances of any errors while feeding the data of a transaction. So these are some of the benefits which you can have using electronic commerce in relation to supply chain. There can be others also, but these are the fundamental ones which I thought I should share with you. There is one disadvantage, if you can call that, and that disadvantage is that the cost of placing a supply chain management system, or the cost of using a supply chain management software for that matter, that may be quite high. Therefore, as an organization, when you are going to make a decision about the use of supply chain management software or the use of electronic commerce in relation to supply chain mechanism, there you will have to weigh the advantages and the disadvantage of using this setup, right? So generally we can say that there are more advantages of using electronic commerce in supply chain as opposed to the cost factor. Let's try to strengthen our analysis of this concept supply chain with the help of a few examples. I can give you the example of a company which is believed to be probably the largest producer of commercial aircraft, and it has to make a huge effort to adhere to a particular production plan or schedule of production of aircraft. Each aircraft normally requires more than 1 million individual parts and various assembly units before it can be delivered to the purchasing airline. And then there are different specifications which the purchasing airlines can ask for. So the aircraft has to be configured exactly according to the specifications of the purchasing airlines at times. In case the provision or the supply of individual parts or the assembly units is delayed, then the overall process of manufacturing would be halted, which the company cannot afford. Its production plan would be delayed. So in 1997, it faced a huge problem in the sense that two of its assembly operations, they were forced to be closed down because of the non-availability of certain parts. And these parts were not made available for several weeks. And that resulted into a loss of billions of dollars to that company. And then at that juncture, that company decided that it is going to invest in the technology to improve its supply chain. So it decided to use EDI. You have covered this topic, electronic data interchange. It decided to use EDI and the internet technology to enhance its supply chain management system. The idea was that with the help of this system in place, it would be easier, more convenient for the suppliers of the individual parts or assembly units to know as to when a part is exactly required and what are the specifications of any such part. So in this way, it was believed that the production schedule would not be jeopardized. What basically it did was that it created a secured website. In fact, it created an extranet and allowed access to the suppliers of the parts to the secured website, and the suppliers then they could find out the information about the required parts, the exact date when such parts would be needed. Similarly, it was also possible with the help of such an extranet that the specifications of different parts or the engineering drawings in relation to such parts, they were delivered to the relevant suppliers much before the start of manufacturing or production. So if the suppliers, they had the knowledge about all such specifications prior in time, they were quite comfortable as regards the arrangement or the supply of such individual parts. They could make their own production plan accordingly. One more thing it did was that it started providing information to the suppliers about the completion of different milestones. Besides, if there were any changes in the production plan, in the schedule of production, such changes were also displayed on the website, and from there the suppliers could have the information that, well, they have to adjust according to these changes. As a consequence, in a couple of years' time after the adoption of the technology by the company, it was possible that the time required to complete certain assembly processes, that time was reduced to half, right? And it benefited the company in the sense that the aircraft which was produced and delivered to the purchasing airline normally in 36 months, now the company was in a position to deliver and produce the same aircraft within a period of 10 to 12 months. Then that company did another innovation. It created the spare parts website, and it allowed certain customer airlines to register and to have access to this website, because the company believed that the most of the customer airlines, they could not afford the expensive EDI technology, or they were not employing EDI as such. So what it did, that it created a website, and then it allowed the customer airlines to register with that website and then place orders for any replacement items or parts. Okay, so previously the customer airlines, they used to place orders through faxes, through telephone, through post mail, etc. But now there was a website using which they could instantaneously place orders for any replacement parts, and that was quite inexpensive for the company to set up that website, as opposed to the case where the company used to receive thousands of telephone calls for the provision of the replacement parts by the customer airlines. It was assessed that thousands of different transactions for the provision of the spare parts, they were being processed through that website, and it was also possible that the parts, they could be delivered either on the same day when the order was received, or at the most the next day of the receipt of the order. So in that way, it was a great service for the customer airlines, and it also benefited the company a great deal because it was technology enabled and it was providing a great service to its customers. Then there is another example, and that is of a computer manufacturing company. That company realized, it noticed that it could gather a lot of information, useful information about its different customers. And it also analyzed that using that bulk of information about its customers, using that information, it could reduce the cost of bearing the inventory. So the inventory cost, it thought, could be reduced using this amount of information about the customers. And it, based upon that, it developed its marketing strategy. It also shared this information about its customers with its suppliers of various parts. So again, with the help of a secured internet connection, with the help of a secured website, it was possible for the suppliers that they could connect to that website, they could have an access there, and then they could find out the information about the sales forecast, about any change in the production schedule, or about any warranty claims of different customers. The suppliers could also find out the information about the customers, that, well, what type of customers this computer manufacturing company is having, what are their specific needs, what are their requirements, and what different type of things they are buying. And ultimately, based upon this different type of information, the suppliers could then develop their own production plan or the schedule of supply of the parts. So in this way, technology had benefited the company, its suppliers, and the benefit could reach to the end customers in the end. In other words, you may have noticed that by adopting the technology, the cost can be reduced, the inventory can be reduced, the speed of the processing of a transaction can enhance, can increase, and then the quality of the product can also improve. Here, I would also quote another example, and that relates to a company that produces automobile Tires, that is based in America. Normally, the main goal in case of supply chain is to provide benefit to the end customers. But this particular tire producing company, it made an innovation and it shifted its focus from the end customers to the dealers. What it did was that it created an extranet and it allowed its dealers to connect to a secured website, and then it was possible for the dealers to have information about different tire specifications, about the inventory status, about any promotional information, etc. So all this different type of information that was instantaneously available to the dealers. Right? Now, the dealers, they could answer to any queries of their customers immediately and directly. So if a customer has any query and that customer calls a dealer, that dealer can then open the website. It has got the access to the website where the tire specifications and other information is placed, and by consulting that website, simultaneously the dealer can respond to the queries of the customers. So the customers are not put on hold. While talking to the customers on telephone, the dealer, by looking at the website, can immediately and directly provide the information to the customers. On the other hand, it is beneficial for the tire producing company also, because it does not need to hire any extra staff to respond to any telephone calls from the dealers. So it can then reduce its cost. It does not require to answer thousands of different telephone calls and arrange the staff for that purpose. Now, since the company is providing a better service to its dealers, now these dealers, they are likely to recommend this company if there are any specific orders. Then the dealers, they are receiving a better service from this tire producing company. They are more likely to recommend and suggest to their customers that, well, buy tires from this particular tire company. So in this fashion, again, there is a benefit to the company, to the dealers, and then that benefit is translated, it is reached to the end customers. Different IT polls and surveys, they have now clearly established that using information technology, using electronic commerce, companies, they can improve relationship with other members of the supply chain, and then they can reap the benefits of such useful relationship. The product, the items, they can be delivered just in time. So in case you need some raw material from the supplier, your order, if it is being sent electronically, that would be processed electronically on the supplier side, and the supplier would supply the raw material just in time to the manufacturing company. The manufacturing company would not be required to maintain any inventory and would not thus bear any extra inventory cost. After discussing the concept of supply chain, I would like to discuss another concept, and that is competitive strategy. It may be a new term for you. The ability of businesses to prosper and to make profit primarily depends upon their competitive advantage over the competitors within the same business area. Right? So the business plan, the business strategy which is required to be framed and which is required to be implemented in order to gain and maintain this competitive advantage is called the competitive strategy. A business, in order to thrive in a particular business environment, must have some competitive strategy. It must have some competitive plan. There are 3 different competitive strategies which have been identified by the experts, namely, number 1, cost leadership, number 2, differentiation, and number 3, focus. Cost leadership means that the price of your product, your items, is less than the price of your competitor's product. And that is one incentive for the buyers, for the customers to buy those products from your company, because they should find that your product is cheaper and it is performing the same function. So that thing should lead them to buy the products from you. For example, say there is a product which is worth rupees 10 and that product is being sold at rupees 10 by your competitors. The same product having the same quality, if you sell it at rupees 9, that is 1 rupee cheaper, then there is all the more likelihood that your items, your products would be sold out. They would be more attractive for the customers. So that is the concept behind cost leadership. Then we come to product differentiation. This concept means that your product should be unique in certain respect from the product that is being produced or offered by your competitor, in spite of the fact that your offered product is relatively more expensive from your competitor's product. Because there your strategy would be that your product has got some unique, some special features, which features are missing in the product of your competitors, and that fact should induce the customers to go for your product and buy it from your company. For example, say you produce air conditioners, and with the help of technology you design and you produce your air conditioners such that they are soundless. They do not produce any noise while they are in operation. On the other hand, the air conditioners produced by your competitors, they are more noisy. Then, in spite of the fact that the air conditioners produced by your business are relatively more expensive, still the quality, the improved performance of your product, your air conditioners, in the sense that they are soundless, should induce the customers to be your customers and to buy from your company. So here your strategy is the product differentiation. You are aiming at a unique feature about your product to attract the clients, to attract the customers. Then the third competitive strategy is focus. Focus is defined as the concentration on a single aspect of the market. So that single aspect may be a particular product type or a particular market area or some market segment, etc. The idea is that you concentrate on a single aspect as a part of your competitive strategy. So I give you an example. Say your focus strategy is on a particular market area. You find that you have got a good distribution channel in a particular province, in a particular city or state, as the case may be, as compared to your competitors. Your competitors may have a better distribution channel and other benefits all over the country or other places, but in relation to a particular area, you can identify, you can believe that your distribution channel is much more stronger as compared to your competitors. So you can develop, based upon this information, this strength of yours, you can develop a strategy that you would focus on this particular province, city or country, as the case may be, where you have a better distribution channel, because that is your strength and you would capitalize upon that in order to make more profit, right? So just take the example of a particular province. If in a province you have a better distribution channel, you would forget other provinces of the same country. You would not give them that importance. Rather, you would focus on that particular province in which you have your strength, because in the ultimate analysis you are likely to be more profitable by focusing entirely on that one province. Similarly, if you do data mining and you find out the profile of your specific customers, you find out that, well, these are the different type of customers who are likely to buy your products. They have shown their inclination to buy products from your company. Then you can focus on that particular profile of customers. You would try to target these customers for any marketing point of view. So your focus would be on that particular market segment or the customer type. Again, then in case of focus on a particular product, you can say that if you are manufacturing different types of items, but you discover that one of your produced or manufactured items is very attractive, very lucrative for the customers, for the public, then you may find out that, well, I should focus entirely or primarily on this particular popular item, and I should place less importance on the other products. So by adopting this focus strategy, then you may discover that it is going to be more beneficial, it is going to earn more profit for you. Now we come to an interesting question. What is the role of electronic commerce in competitive strategy? So internet has produced a revolution. Electronic commerce has a lot of importance these days. How can we use this internet technology, the electronic commerce, to improve our competitive strategy? There are different ways in which we can use electronic commerce in this regard. I would highlight a few. First of all, electronic commerce can reduce the administration as well as the transaction cost, and then based upon that you can pursue, you can implement your cost leadership strategy. For example, if a business, if a company is using electronic commerce, then it is possible that it is minimizing its overheads cost. It does not require any extra staff to be hired and pay their salaries. It does not require any stationery, so the stationery cost is also eliminated because the administration is being done electronically. The orders are being processed, they are being generated and processed electronically. So all these different types of overhead costs or infrastructure costs, they are eliminated, and therefore the price of a particular product that can be lowered. So you can offer your product at a relatively low price because you have eliminated attached overhead costs by the use of electronic commerce. Similarly, you can afford to sell your products directly to the customers. You can have your website, and on that website you can place your items for sale and you can directly sell them to your customers, and in this fashion you can cut down the commission that you may otherwise have to pay to the dealers or to the intermediaries. So since you do not have to pay any commission, any amount to the intermediary, so therefore you can reduce your price. So in this fashion you can implement cost leadership. Then the second point, the use of electronic commerce and competitive strategy, is in relation to improved supply chain. How? We can improve supply chain tremendously with the help of electronic commerce because the orders, they are generated electronically, they can be processed on the supplier side electronically, instantaneously, immediately, without any extra time. So therefore the supplier of a raw material, for that matter, can send the raw material to the business, to the manufacturing company, say, instantaneously. So the manufacturing company can have just in time delivery of the raw material. It does not require to maintain any warehouses or godowns where it is required to place the raw material, to stock the raw material. It does not require to then bear any inventory cost. So once the inventory cost is out, it is eliminated, it can be cut down, then obviously there is going to be an impact of that on the price of the product. The price can be reduced accordingly. Again, you can pursue cost leadership, you can implement your cost leadership strategy if you are applying electronic commerce to improve your supply chain. Third point, as a business you can gather the data, the information about your customers. If you are using electronic commerce, the collection of this data and the recording of this data then in the databases is very easy. All this information is being collected electronically, that can be then recorded in the databases. Then by different techniques, using different techniques, you can make an analysis about the requirements, about the needs of your customers. You are familiar with one such technology, the data mining technology. You can find out that, well, these are your customers and they have shown their inclination in buying these particular type of products. So based upon that, based upon the study of their needs, you can do customization. You can produce or manufacture your products according to the needs of your clients, according to the needs of your customers. And once you do this type of customization, you can then pursue the differentiation competitive strategy. Your product is specific according to the needs of your customers, so you can implement differentiation. Again, you can implement the focus competitive strategy if you are focusing on a particular segment of your customers. Then the fourth point is that you can differentiate your product in terms of quality of service. I give you an example. Assume that you are a business selling music online, or you are a business selling electronic journals or articles online, etc. All this different stuff can be downloaded by the customers. So if you are doing that, then obviously you are using electronic commerce here, then you have a competitive advantage over those of your competitors who are not doing this thing, who are still selling their product in the traditional way, having a physical shop. Right? You are different from your competitors in the sense that your product can be very efficiently, can be very quickly and timely delivered to your customers. With the help of just one click, your customers can immediately download the music or the articles they want to buy. So in terms of this unique distribution channel, you have got an advantage over your competitors who are not using the same technology. You are providing a different quality of service here, and your product is therefore differentiated based on that. Similarly, another example, say where you are delivering your items, your product, and you want to provide a facility to your customers so that they can get to know the exact shipment status of the items they have ordered at different intervals of time. That can be easily done with the help of electronic commerce. So if you are technologically enabled and your customers can have an access to your website, they can find out the progress of their parcels which are in transit, which have been sent to them and they have not yet been delivered. They can know the exact shipment status. So again, you have differentiated yourself in terms of quality of service, as opposed to those competitors who are not providing the same facility, who are not using this technology. So that was the use of electronic commerce in competitive strategy. Our next major topic would be Porter's model of competitive rivalry. Porter's model identifies the threats to the competitive position of a business and also provides the information about any plans, including the use of information technology or electronic commerce, to prevent such threats. Porter gave the idea that there is a fierce rivalry which exists generally amongst the businesses working in the same trading sector. Right? He basically identified 5 forces of competitive rivalry. And these forces are, namely, number one, threat of new entrants. Number two, threat of substitution. Number three, bargaining power of buyers. Number four, bargaining power of the suppliers. And number five, the existing competitive rivalry amongst the players. So, inshallah, in our subsequent lecture, we shall deal with these 5 forces one by one. We'll do an analysis in this regard. For the time being, we have to stop here because the time for our lecture is over. Let's just have a brief recap what we have done in our today's lecture. In fact, we have discussed the concept of supply chain management with the help of some examples, and then we have also discussed the concept of competitive strategy. We have identified, we have come to know that there are 3 different types of competitive strategies, namely cost leadership, differentiation, and focus. We have also seen how electronic commerce can play its role in preparing and maintaining a particular competitive strategy. In our subsequent lecture, we'll be dealing with the Porter's model of competitive rivalry. So till then, Allah Hafiz.